All right, thank you, Jotham. So the first startup that we have for this session will be NlightN. So please welcome to the stage Bala from NlightN.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, wow. This is really in some place right now. Wow, we're going in reverse. Okay. All right. My name is Bala Kadlor. I'm the founder and CEO of NlightN Technologies. So let me begin with the dynamics within an enterprise, a typical enterprise. Now, as a CEO, right, some of the most important things that, as a CEO, one would be imagining is that, what are we going to do for this quarter, right? And secondly, what should the organization's focus be for this month in terms of, sort of corralling the whole team to work on specific things that impact the targets. And in fact, if we actually focus on those, focus points, would we actually hit the targets is the next important thing. Now, as you folks, as the CFO, right, you're probably wondering as to what the revenue is going to be for this quarter and what our actuals are doing against the budget. And more importantly, what levers do I push to actually meet the budget? Would you guys agree? Yeah? Okay. So to support the CFO, for instance, who do we turn to? So we turn to the analysts within the organization, and this is actually a look into what a typical data organization looks like from managing several of these organizations over the past decade. So the expectation of a data organization is that data is collected in some system somewhere, right? And the metrics and the KPIs that we're interested in measuring are computed, and then there's a bunch of analysts who do this, the analysis, or observe what is happening and do their analysis and come back with some kind of prescription and recommendation to the organization. And in the process, actually increase the value of data, delivering the maximum business value to an organization. But what we have noticed in reality is the fact that we're in a data age, and there's exponential growth of data. And what happens with that is there's complexity in terms of how do you actually condense all of that information into succinct, message that can be actually delivered in a timely manner to the executives for a decision-making process, right? And so more often than not, analysts are running helter-skelter, trying to sort of climb up the wrong tree, looking at different metrics, and they find themselves unable to actually scale. And I was in this position while I managed these organizations. And as a result, there are a lot of lost opportunities, thereby bringing the business value of data down as it progresses through the entire cycle. And the key factor here is that time is of essence, and which is why we're set back. And we want to change all of this. But before I go there, what we find is that businesses are blindsided by the metrics and often in hindsight realize missed opportunities. And we want to change this equation by actually delivering decisive insights to decision makers, so that they can make timely and effective decisions. So a typical use case is that we did this beta customer testing for a supply chain logistics company. And so we all know YouTube channels and the stars behind that. And they have a huge fan following. And when these YouTube channels actually, sort of come up with campaigns and actually have merchandise, this supply chain logistics company uses outsourced vendors to basically fulfill the orders. And when we put our platform against, this business model, we presented with these top 5, sort of metrics to them, and then let our algorithms actually run on these metrics. And what we found out was that some of the vendors were actually sort of delayed their shipping to the customers, thereby breaking SLAs and agreements that this company had. And so that was a conversation to have with them in terms of how they can actually improve the ship lag. But more importantly, what we also found out was that some of the vendors were doing better than expected on the same, sort of merchandise and shipping and fulfillment, and that allowed this company to actually push the cutoff dates for order deliveries during holiday season, and thereby actually prolong their order cutoff period, thereby increasing revenue. And so that's how we were able to actually deliver value. And just to actually top it off in terms of business justification, what we believe is that we can help actually drive business goals towards their targets and help leaders actually sustain or course correct as required by providing timely and effective decisions. And more importantly, what we found is when the teams actually focus on the right things, the productivity can actually increase by 5 to 10%, and we've actually seen that. And the cost, savings from actually being focused could be anywhere be between 50 and 500K per year per person, actually. So the ramp-up time is about a week to 2 weeks to set up the platform and actually have that up and running and provide you insights. And we're working on a version that can cut that down to a few hours right now, provided you have the data ready. We're NlightN Technologies, and we deliver decisive insights to your mobile devices. And I'll take any questions. Thank you. Wow, this means it's crystal clear. Everybody understands what we're doing. Fantastic. I'd love to talk to all of you.